So, good evening, students, and continuation of the pathogenicity of the virus. And today I am going to deal with the topic of mumps virus. Okay, so first we'll be dealing with what do you mean by mumps. Okay, so it is a acute contagious viral infections and which was mostly caused by the virus of a family of Paromyxovirus or the genus Rubellovirus. So these are the two viruses and which was mostly affected with the characteristics of viral infection is mumps. Okay, and how these mumps is going to be characterized or shows the signs or symptom means, so by swelling or the salivary glands or the parotid glands, and it is going to be infected our submaxillary and the sublingual glands, and also our parotid glands is going to be damaged. So whenever these type of mumps has been occurred, and it also involved in the condition of the nerve, meninges, pancreas and the gonads, and these three structures also is going to be damages automatically in the lateral stage. So especially you see these kind of disease condition in the children's, and and also if the person who are not vaccinated against these mumps, and the adults is also rare case they can be affected. So the incubation period is 2 to 3 weeks of period, and so the patients are contagious for 1 day before the clinical appearance. Okay, so soon after the infection appears, and automatically the patient is going to acquire the disease condition, and after after 14 days and with the proper treatment, and within 14 days, and the mumps disorders is going to be subsided. Okay, so what are the clinical manifestations? So the clinical features you can be seen here, and you will have the headache, chills and fever and vomiting and pain below the ear, because the submaxillar and the submandibular area only where the infection is going to be starts. Okay, and the salivary glands involves produce a pain over the area, and the parotid glands is also having the involvement in the pain, and enlargement of the swelling you can see over the parotid glands. Okay, and that is regarding clinical manifestations. And now we will see the epidemiology, so how it is going to be transmit the infection. Okay, so already have seen that how much of incubation period, so 14 to 18 days, and for 1 to 4 weeks of time it is going to be taken for the incubation period. Okay, and it is going to be transmitted by our respiratory route, and from the saliva or the droplet, and it is going to be transmitted to one person to other person. So how it is going to be there means, so it is going to be isolated from the saliva of the infected patient within 7 days. Okay, and or 9 days of onset it is going to be transmit the infection. So you see that, and in most of the cases whenever you are observing the mumps, and the parotid swelling is absent. So in some cases, and the swelling is going to be arises at the early stage. So because as it is a contagious disorder, and first you have to take care that isolation of the patient is very very important. Okay, and so once these mumps has been occurred, so it is a lifelong immunity sufferers. Okay, so again for example now, so this month you got a mumps, and the next month your friend has got a mumps infection. So even if you are contact with the person who got a mumps, and you are not going to affected with the mumps disease, because already you are immunized against the mumps virus. Okay, so the chance of infection is less for these kind of people. Okay, so we'll see the different kinds of the mumps. Okay, first one is a non-specific mumps. Okay, so this in the non-specific mumps, and you see that enlargement of the salivary glands we can see. Okay, and you can't see the parotitis or the true mumps, and is not related with these kind of non-specific mumps. Okay, and we can it is very difficult to differentiate with the whether it is a non-specific mumps or the parotitis infection mumps. It is too difficult to find out. Okay, and these includes that chronic non-specific cellulitis, nutritional mumps, and acute post-operative parotitis, chemical mumps, and the miscellaneous. So we'll be discussing each regarding of these types of the non-specific mumps. Okay, so first one is what chronic non-specific cellulitis means inflammation of the salivary glands is called as a cellulitis. So mostly it is caused by the, and whenever you have the salivary ducts, okay, so is infected with some of the pyogenic bacterial infection, and subsequently, and if untreated cases are left over, and these salivary glands inflammation is going to be increase the chance of risk factor. And next, acute post-operative peritonitis. Okay, and nothing else but, so soon after the operation of the inflammation of the peritonitis, and they will be so done the parotid duct operation they are doing. So in such cases what will happen means, and the patient who is suffering from the dehydration, suppression of the saliva secretion, or the vomiting and the mouth breathing, so in these cases, and the person is a chance to get the infection, and mostly we can see in the adults and middle age in the older group, so with these kind of peritonitis infection. Okay, and nutrition mumps. So nutritional mumps means, already you know that deficiency of the nutrients, so which are mostly essential for the growth of, so our submandibular glands, and peritonitis is involved in these kind of nutritional mumps. Okay, so in these you can, in these nutritional mumps you can observe that the enlargement of parotid glands and the submandibular gland is going to be increases. Okay, and next one is a chemical mumps. So chemical mumps means what? Whenever you are exposure to some of the inorganic substances or the organic iodine. Okay, so these kind of glands is going to be shows effect on your parotid glands or submandibular glands, and that is going to be disturbs your normal pattern of the process. Okay, 17 days after initial drug administration, you can see this increase in the salivary gland, means hypertrophy, means the cell increase is going to be there. Okay, so what is the history of mumps they have done here means, so swollen parotid glands is going to be, so what is happening in the mumps classification. So what will happen means, whenever the virus enter into the body of the patient, and automatically, and where the interstitial edema means, so intracellularly, okay, intracellular, where the edema formation is going to be there, and where so the inflammatory process is going to be infiltrate, means so it is not going to be shed out, and where the enlargement of the cell, plasma, lymphocytes, okay, so everything is going to be enlarges, and where the epithelium layer is also going to be damages. Okay, so along with that, some of the other organs of the salivary glands on automatically it become a swollen. Okay, and the next one is a pathogenesis. So pathogenesis means how the way of infection is going to be transmitted. So once transmitted through the droplet nuclei, already explained you that, and these kind of mumps virus is going to be transmitted by the saliva, okay, or for the formalities like vomiting, or the whenever you are exposure to the vomitings. Okay, so what is going to be there, and directly it is going to be stays, means replicates or the stays in our respiratory epithelium, and after that, and it is going to be spread through the lymph nodes. Okay, and it's going to be subsequently develop the viremiae. Okay, so where the skin layer of the smooth layer of the respiratory tract is going to be attached, and it is going to be makes the infiltration of the edema process is going to be there for the person. Okay, and due to that, what will happen within the cell itself, the formation of the necrosis is going to be forms, and where the epithelial duct cells is going to be forms the salivary glands to be enlarged. Okay, or edema formation is going to be starts. That is a pathogenesis of mumps virus. So what is the diagnosis you can make means, and they are going to take the sample of the influenza, para-influenza 1 and 3, or the Coxsackie, or the HIV and cytomegalovirus. So same process, and whatever the diagnosis they are performing, and they are going to do the same diagnosis. And what are that means, so first they are going to clinical presentation, means they are going to observe the signs and symptoms of the clinical features of the patient, and they are going to observe the thing, and later they are going to collect the throat swabs. Okay, and after that, and from CSF also they are going to collect something, the collection of sample, and they are going to confirm with the complement fixation test or hemagglutination inhibition they are going to do, and ELISA test they are going to done. Okay, so by this they are going to detect out the mumps virus. Okay, and also they are going to detect the serum analyze. So okay, so nothing else but you can see the elevated in both the peritonitis and the pancreatitis. So whenever you are doing that, and doing this serum analyze test, and especially in the peritonitis and the pancreatitis, inflammation of the liver, so you are going to detect out the increased serum levels. Okay, so that is because the edema formation, the interstitial cell fluid is going to be there, so automatically increased serum analyze is going to be attached. So next one is the complications. So in the complications you can see that, and for the ovaries and testes, pancreas, mammalian glands, or the prostate, epididymis, and the heart. So these includes in the complication of this mumps virus if you are not treating properly, and especially in the male adults, and you can see the orchitis, okay, inflammation of the penis, and that you can see. And so you also involve that, and there is a pancreatitis, it means inflammation of the liver. Okay, so elevation of the serum lipase, lipid concentration is going to be increases, and meningoencephalitis, okay, inflammation of the meningeus layer, and deafness you will see, and mastoiditis, inflammation of the mastoid bones. So that may lead to a nerve deafness and facial paralysis, cerebral ataxia, okay, encephalitis. So these are the conditions you may see in these complications. Okay, and during the trimester of pregnancy also, so there is a chance of abortion. And what is the prognosis you can see means, and if prognosis is good, and whenever you are uncomplicated cases are there, for example now complicated cases we have seen, right, pancreatitis, encephalitis, etc. So if these complications are there, and there is prognosis is typical, but if these complications are not required, and that is going to be a good prognosis. And if the involvement of occurs during the central nervous system or cardiac involvement is there, and that death is sure. Okay, so what is the treatment you are going to give means hydration, right? So maintain hydration and alimentation is very very important. So why? Because edema formation is there, and means removing out means excess of edema is going to be removed by giving of the medications. Okay, so diuretics, by giving of diuretics we can able to relieve the excess of fluid. And treating of mumps in a palliative in nature. So palliative in nature means, and like giving at home support, you have to give the care. So in order to reduce the pain, analgesics they are going to give, and infection antipyretics are administered to the patient. And in an attempt to minimize orchitis, so bed rest is very very important, and until the fever breaks. Okay, and so we have to avoid the sore foods and drinks help to decrease the salivary glands discomfort. Okay, so because more irritant will be there, so cool items you have to maintain. Okay, and as with the measles and rubella, the best result is a prior vaccination is very very important to prevent these kind of infections. Okay, so that is regarding of an mumps virus. Okay, so thank you. This is regarding of the mumps virus, and so tomorrow we'll be dealing with other kind of the virus. Okay, thank you.